we make one bid into hamburger and the hamburgers. If there's any downside to it, there's no use in beer.
So you don't mix it, you mix it with anything, with beer meat?
Haven't had to, the girlfriend does from time to time, but the big thing is season it whatever way you want it. I like walleye to some extent, people say much good, walleye's boring, it really has no taste to it, so, what we do, probably we're heading, at the edge with the DNR, but what I like to do is we always make up a big kettle of beer and chili, and sometimes we cook up a roast for it. And then we have it at the bar during the Packer Bears game, so you can actually eat the bears during the game. So,
That's kind of down there.
mostly so everybody can taste it, you know. 20 people can get a chance to see what it tastes like is a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is. I'll introduce you.
Hey, Bruce and Con.
Bruce is, a little late.
All right.
Just
So we got 1, 2, 3.
He's not in it right now. Or the four.
Okay.
Nobody online.
Nobody's on.
Somebody online, maybe, our guy got Hi, Julie.
Good morning. How is everyone today?
We're good. I am annoyed, so is everybody else. I think you're
I
all.
just gotta go grab something out of my office. I'll be right back.
Morning.
Morning, Kate. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Very well. Yay.
He's looking at you. Who's all right?
No, Dan,
How are you? Who's all right? Good. How are you?
where's your new beans?
$14 beans all off?
$14 beans. How are you gonna do about it? Dan?
Good morning.
All the neighbors have.
Well, they gotta run more acres in, right, Dan?
We actually got it.
If they gotta mow off, then they gotta run more acres. heck, I'm early.
Yeah, if you look at that clock.
Tell me, that spot vacation in Florida?
Yeah.
Which side of the state is it on?
We're an hour north of Fort Myers.
Oh, it's been in the news lately.
Yeah,
I assume you lost your place?
no,
One of the fortunate ones, I guess. Huh?
Yep.
Pretty bad. Yeah. Trust the clock here.
And Doug is over, that was three.
Ready?
if you're excited. Need to sign that? Did you sign this?
I did.
No.
Morning, Doug. All ready to rip?
Absolutely.
All right, we will call this meeting to order. Do I have confirmation we are properly posted on chapter 19? Approval of the minutes from the September 1. Second, is there any changes, amendments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Right.
I'd like to abstain.
One abstention. Public comment on agenda items. Is there anyone who wishes to address any of the agenda items? Hearing none, we'll move on. Announcements.
Okay, I have a handful of announcements as always. The first one, I just wanted you all to know that the Terrell's Island Sammers Bay project, that's that break wall project. We're going to move part of the Terrell's Island Trail and build a new break wall. That was completed. We still have about 3,000 feet of break wall to hopefully do this winter. And there's some recapping that we have to do, just some settling that happened on the break walls that we did over the last winter. The two contractors that were selected, it was a 2-year RFP that they gave us. So we gave them the opportunity to update their prices. As everyone knows, prices have gone up. And the prices came back double than what the first prices were. So I have a meeting this afternoon to discuss it. The grant money that we have, we're very close to having enough money to finish that project. So we're going to just discuss it and then decide if we want to send it out to all the contractors for RFPs again, or work with these existing contractors to finish the project. So to be determined, but we'll be talking this afternoon on what we're going to do for that.
Their original pricing was 2 years old,
Yes,
and in the last 2 years it doubled.
yes, rock went way up, they're saying. So, yeah, no surprise.
Yeah.
Check, question, how do you build a wall in the wintertime when the lake is all frozen?
We vote for cold temperatures first off, and then what the contractors do, and each contractor goes about it a little differently. So some will get the snow off the ice, because that acts as insulation. You can't build enough ice. And then they'll actually pump water. For this project, they actually created like dams around each break wall and flooded it and created more ice on top of the ice. Is how they did it. So you want about 20 inches minimum, 24 is ideal to support the trucks to go out there. So you get your ice, and usually the middle of February, then we'll go out there, we stake it out, and then they build the structure right on top of the ice. And then it just settles in spring, it melts into place, and it should be sticking 2 feet above the water to break the waves.
Do they go to the end and work back or start and work out?
This one, they went to
Very good question.
they went to the end, and now we're working our way to the start, just how we're doing this one. So we have 5 more break walls to finish. And we did, I think, 5 or 6, about 2,500 feet. That's how some contractors do it. Others will leave the snow on and build these sprinkler systems and then wet the snow. and then try to build it that way. So they all have different techniques of doing it. The point is you need at least 20 inches if not more ice to do this. A lot cheaper.
And the 20 inches or the 24 inches will hold the rock, the weight of the rock.
The rock will start to, or the ice will start to sink in sometimes, but it supports the dump trucks that are bringing it over there. That's the idea. If you get less, I've done it at 18 inches, and it'll actually be as those trucks are coming, the ice will kind of come up and down. It's like a wave. It's a little unsettling, but it's only 3-4 feet deep that we're doing.
Especially for a truck driver.
Oh yeah, I've seen them with life jackets come out there. Windows open.
So it takes you to Nat Geo and their ice trucks going across Canada. Thank you
That's a-
very much. This is absolutely
You
fascinating.
guys would love to see when we're building them. It's really interesting. It's very unique to the whole state what we do here in Winnebago County through our department with great wells. And we've done over 6 miles through our department, so great practice. And they're really neat projects to restore those wetlands.
But it's fascinating to hear how it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about somebody from the south who has ice and you put your foot through the ice and you're in a puddle,
Right?
this is huge.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good,
It's
yeah.
it's not without its dangerous side. At the very least, the break walls are in shallower water, but they were building reefs. Maybe that was walleye for tomorrow that was building reefs, and they lost a truck driver that went through in 18 feet of water.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Is that where they would cut the hole and then dump the rock into the?
No, I think they were just leaving it all right on the ice in a location they wanted when the ice goes away. I believe that's what they were doing. Maybe they were cutting the hole. I just know that,
It was deeper, I think it was 50.
yeah, yeah, he went down and very good chance of getting up.
Risky,
Thank you for
risky
the
business.
information.
And the other question, that was such a cool trail, the Carroll Island Trail. Is there plans to bridge that gap where you removing part of that rock?
Right, the same
or-
question.
In the initial process of trying to figure out what we're gonna do to get water exchange, we looked at that. And bridges were, to get about a 60-foot span, it was almost 100,000 for each bridge and a lot of maintenance, and it just wasn't feasible from one standpoint to do it that way. So no, but we're doing, one of the ends will have like a cul-de-sac, so the DNR is working on that. It'll be almost like a destination point, or it'll be a bigger area where they might have picnic tables in the area. But it, I mean, more the end on each one, but it's not gonna be a loop ever.
I would agree that was too long of a loop for you.
So there you go. Unless you want to try swimming and do like an Ironman.
I'll go, no, I'll go to the cul-de-sac. So
I was looking for the golf carts.
This is a good segue for the other break wall that we're dealing with. This is the Stabino break wall on Lake Winnebago. So I reached out to Radke's. We finished 99% of the project. There's about 60 feet left where the Wolf River comes through and the currents just will never give ice there to finish that last part. There was some native Phragmites that I wanted to wrap that last bit of break wall around that protected, plants. And I got the prices from Radke's and my jaw dropped. They were too low. It was almost $1,400 a foot, and normally it's about $150 a foot to do it on the ice. This would have to be barged, so this is barged in, which is usually triple. So I was figuring around $450, $500 a foot. It was almost $90,000 to do 60 feet, so it's not happening. I'm gonna close all the grants. There's just no way I can justify paying that much for 60 feet of break wall. It just doesn't pay.
Although we can always revisit that at a later,
We can.
if things improve.
Yeah.
Dramatically.
There would be opportunity if more money became available, or if we bid it out and had more bids. The problem is the grants expiring in March and I'm trying to do that last part of March. So landowners are okay with it, and they don't even want to try this winter because it tore up their yard over 2 seasons. So trucks going through the front yard, and they're done. They're happy with that 99% done. We flew the drone out there and did some pictures and merged all the pictures together. It's pretty dramatic how quickly the vegetation is coming in behind it. Submergence, the water clarity. I know the fishing has been really good for people that we're talking to. So overall, a success to that project, and we're gonna close out that grant. Tomorrow we have the LWCA meeting in Allegheny County, and I think Kate or Penny that.
Yes.
Okay, so one person signed up for that. You have a nice tour scheduled tomorrow for that. I wanted to,
On that note, is it possible to come late and just go to the business meeting? I assume I could do that.
I would think so. Yeah, the money's for the tour and the lunch, so if you want to show up for the business meeting, it's gonna be pretty benign, not much going on. But if you
Yeah,
want
where is
to-
that location?
It's 1,000
Yeah, Thousand Islands in Tacoma.
Kona. I don't have the address.
Hang on, I can, oh, am I good today? It is 1,000 Boyo Court in Tacoma. So it's the Thousand Islands,
Oreo Park,
yeah,
spell that?
Beaullieu Court in Tacoma.
French, I assume. Okay, good, I'll, and that starts at what, 12 or so?
Business meeting, I think is 12:45, the business meeting right after lunch.
See if I can get up, I got something in the morning, so. Thank you.
All right, so I know I mentioned to the committee, we had applied through Foxville Watershed Alliance and Edgeberry Cooperative for a Climate Smart grant. It was a large scale grant to start working with farmers in the region on soil health initiatives. And the idea behind it was to ultimately get the farmers set up for, to be defined as climate smart. So like the General Mills, your Nestle's of the world, they would buy from these farmers and they put a stamp on it that they're climate smart farms. So we'd be working with them on these soil health initiatives was the idea behind the grant. And we were awarded that grant. We were one of 70 in the whole nation, 2 in Wisconsin that got it. We had asked for 84 million. They reduced it to 50 million. So we don't know what that means yet. So again, this was, we were a sub-award of this grant for about 14 million for about 7 counties in the area. And then Edge Cooperative was the bigger part of it. So I haven't found yet how this is going to shake out. I don't know where the reductions are going to be, how it's going to affect our part of the sub-award. But it was awesome news. I'm just hoping that it's going to shake out good for our department.
This is separate money from the county?
This is separate. This is a separate grant through the federal government. Yeah, there was $1 billion available. And what I don't like how they handled it was they awarded $2 billion, they doubled it, but then they cut a lot of the grants down. So what you asked for, they didn't give you what you asked for, which is it's hard to manage a grant when you haven't asked to do something, and then they cut it in half in order to be able to accomplish the goals. So what the initial proposal was for, and I'm just going to speak on behalf of our county, there were 7 counties, but it was for 1 temporary position, like an agronomist position, and then enough money for 3,000 acres to sign up farmers for soil health initiatives. And then there would be 100,000 acres in the region to do a farm analysis to look at basically the carbon savings that could be made on a farm to get them set up that. So we'll know more soon. I will have an update. I would think within a week I'm going to know more what's going on with that.
That's cool.
And that's just gonna go to the watershed up there?
It would be through Foxville Watershed Alliance. They would be the sub award, and we would work through Foxville.
But that would go up, I'm trying to think of the
Hold
name.
it, the counties.
Geographically, where's that gonna cover?
So it's gonna be, we have Wapaka County, Outagamie, I think Fond du Lac, Shauna was one of the furthest north counties.
But our area was Rat River, right?
That's a separate grant.
That's a separate grant.
This would be countywide, this is
Oh, okay.
countywide. Yep.
Plus you got the grant that just awarded to Foxville, for Calumet County. Right? That same, I just got an email.
That's a different one that Calumet County just got. Yep. So we have our Rat River called the Glisner grant. We have a couple $100,000 in there. We're working with 3 farmers. doing soil health initiatives, this would be. Yeah, and the money would include a staff for 5 years, includes truck, includes computer, everything we need for 5 years to have temporary.
Does the county, was, just because of that money that came, what it was?
The ARPA money,
The ARPA money.
Yep.
If that's sitting there and we've been awarded this grant, would that attract more of that money back to us for our, we requested what, 3 million or
We
something?
requested 3 million. But in my opinion, that money would be used for a lot of other things. Soil health would be part of it.
Yep.
But there's a lot of other things in our world.
But that might free up some of that. Maybe.
Yeah, it depends on how this is gonna shake out.
And is that still active and who presents that? Do you present that or does Chuck or the,
I'll give a report on that. On my
okay, sorry.
chairman report.
But long story short, it is gonna be reduced, so it might be not a staff here, it might be less money for soil health initiatives. It's gonna be reduced at some capacity, we just don't know.
When do we get the answer?
They met yesterday, edge proposal met with the grant people. And I'm just waiting to hear from possible. So I should know this week, if not this week.
Exciting time. We've got a lot of money here.
A lot of good
A
things
lot
going
of
on.
bucks.
A lot of good things. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was great news for that. I'll keep you all posted on how that unfolds. I know Chuck, you were at it, but the back to the Wisner grant in the Rat River, we had a field day. It was last week or the week before that. We had a drone flight where they planted cover crops with a drone. I think you all were emailed on that. Pretty cool technology. I had another meeting, I wasn't able to make it. But one of our champion farmers in the Rat River watershed used that drone to plant cover crops. That's its field. So I don't know if you have any comments with that.
Well, when we say drone, we're not talking, I'm estimating 6 to 8 feet wide. It's a big drone. That's really big. And it actually has a hopper in the center that they have to refill more frequently. But it does work really efficient.
So that's the seed in the hopper.
Right, and just
For plant- So it-
drop the seed like you were doing with an airplane. It would be the same principle. I think one of the downsides is they can only do small acreage. You can't get into bigger, but 25
They
acres.
can do 70 pounds it can hold at a time. So they seeded that day, they did 3 acres in 10 minutes. They seeded 3 acres. Is what
It works quite efficiently. I think,
10 minutes. Yeah, and the nice thing is if your field's too wet to get in to plant, the drone's a perfect option to get the seed planted. You're not dropping up the field.
now they'll go back sometime later this fall and see how much of that germinated.
And I don't know what, I know they did a couple species, it was rye and there was some kind of rape was in there and rye, I forget what it was.
Yeah.
2 species, I think they put it.
Would that be a qualifying practice through the federal government because you're not incorporating it?
If you, for us, if you get so many plants per square foot, I think it's 8 living plants per square foot, when they go out and do their check, you get paid. That's how it works with us. So it's what germinates. If we get enough density.
Now, this is before the compact, right?
Yes.
Okay.
how much of that seed might get eaten by wildlife or?
Oh, it's bird haven.
You'll get some. Personally, I try to plant it right before rain when I do my plantings, but I don't know, Bruce, you have any comments on that?
Yeah, it's quite a drone. It's actually, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you? Go ahead.
Sometimes like rice. And you've got slugs in the field, a lot of times they can get you.
Always some.
Yeah. I think I should know, this is an individual person, I believe, that's starting a business actually, right?
Yeah, he has an established business.
Throughout the state, he travels all over.
Yeah. And what was kind of neat about it is one of our champion farmers reached out, found the guy, and had him come with their thinking outside the box, how we can cover crops in. There was a nice, they televised it. You guys remember what it was? It was the Midwest Farm report,
Channel 5.
Channel 5 it was. Yeah, so they did a,
5 a.m. in the morning on Saturday.
get up early, or just going
It actually has got a good format. I think it might. I didn't get the price per acre, did you?
I think his cost, and I would have to double check, I thought it was around 20 an acre to see it.
Let's see.
That. Yeah, and stuff, and then we flew our drone and got some nice video behind the drone as they were doing the skiing, and then Andy in our office created a video that we posted to our Facebook site to showcase what was going, so neat stuff.
Okay, so how do you go about educating people to look at your website?
I'm not a Facebook person, but we're getting more followers and likes, whatever you call it, but we're trying to get it more out to the masses. It's a work in progress for our website. The county now has a Facebook site, so we can link it to that site. It's bringing more people into our social media, but it is something this department's doing more of than we've ever done in the last probably year and a half. We have a YouTube page and Facebook site that we try to post a lot of that on. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the drone. I wanted you all to know I got a call from Howie Miller on a spill. There was a spill by Woodland Road over by the town of Winchester, town of Macon. And there was a claim that there was a fish kill, so it was reported to DNR. We went out there and looked, and what I'm thinking it might be, and we're still looking into it, is feed leachate. Something came in from the DNR from Cross Farms that one of their tanker trucks broke and released 1,000 gallons of feed leachate that got into a ditch into a tree repair. So we're working with DNR, taking a look at it. And we're gonna, it's contained, it's the end of the day, it's contained, but we just need to follow up and see what happens. Okay, dad cam report. I'm just gonna hand this out for your reading pleasure. The last thing I have is I want to introduce, we have 2 new hires in our department. We have 2 technicians that were recently hired, Alex and Brandon. If you guys, Brandon, if you want to introduce yourself first, give a little background, where you came from, and obviously you do the same, if we appreciate it.
Sure. I'm Brandon Flens. I recently graduated from UW Oshkosh in 2018.
Thank you.
And since then, I had been working at the DNR for customer service for about a year. And then afterwards got a wastewater position through DNR in the K-4 program. I was with them for about 3 years until I got the position here.
I'm Alex Bjorklund Patil. I started in June as a conservation tech, following my graduation from UW Green Bay with my master's in environmental science and policy. But last 4 years, my focus has been my work in invasive species management. So I was managing a SISMA that's basically a cooperative that treats invasive species and helps manage them across jurisdictional boundaries. So it's just exciting to be here.
So they've been a great addition to our team. We've thrown them right into all the work. We have a lot going on, as you all know, with they're primarily responsible for designing practices, whether it be with farmers or lakeshore owners, and very happy to have them on board. It's helping out the crew very much, the workload that we have. It's getting more and more these days with everything we have going on. So they're going through a lot of training and learning very quickly. And it's been very nice to be on the team. So
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Does the USDA, do you have any comments or something important or?
once we get to the business side.
Okay, all right, we'll wait for that. Okay, Chad, if you have nothing else, Chair's report, first of all, I want to mention the failed resolution that was brought forward by myself and Mr. Norton to recognize Zoom participants and their right to vote. I certainly support the position we took. I want to thank the committee for all their support. However, that did fail. That did not pass the county board. The vote was 16-16 and requires a 2/3 vote. However, that apparently story is not over. I got a call from Supervisor Stafford, who's also now, and he's chairman of the Judicial Committee. Him and I will be sponsoring a little different type of resolution that will mimic the Citizens Advisory Commission, I believe it is, where they are allowed to attend by Zoom and vote. So we're going to try to mimic that authority they have by board rule and see if we can apply it to this committee. So that is pending. Mr. Stafford was going to draft that. We'll see where that goes from there.
So that would be just specifically for this committee.
Correct. So that'll get through the county board. My other comment is the FSA issue, which is ongoing. Which one is it? Our legislative body that we have for the conservation groups within the state is now involved in this. They're going to have discussions, I assume, with FSA representatives to see if they can reach some kind of resolution. So it is, I think, at this point becoming quite a topic of discussion throughout the state. Am I correct on that? Would you agree, Chad?
It resurfaced, yeah, I thought it was gonna taper off and then it dropped. It's through WCA, you're referring to there, yes.
So we'll keep you advised on that as we go forward.
What's a specific question?
Is that?
What's the question on? For FSA?
Well, you want a little background on it?
Yeah.
Okay. The farm serve, as you know, Mr. Stokes is you are chairman of the committee, I assume?
Yep.
Of the FSA committee. By board rule and under state law, chapter 92, that person is a member of the Land Conservation Committee by appointment. The FSA, sometime this summer, I believe it was, determined that that person should not have voting authority on this committee. So that's where we get into the conflict between the two issues.
Gotcha.
We're trying to work that out there, apparently. Obviously, can't vote, then we got, especially with the Zoom issue, now we got a quorum issue. So it's important we get that resolved, certainly for this. And I'll keep you posted on that as I learn more about it here. But my personal opinion is the feds might have their opinion, but we do have state law. We have county board rules, and that's my intention to follow that. Until I got some court telling me I can't do it, or they change the state law. So that's kind of what we're doing.
So right now, Dan's here, he just can't represent FSA, that's the angle we're taking.
Well, I took the angle we can.
Okay.
I'm taking the angle as chairman of the committee that he can't represent and he can't vote. So until I'm overruled as chairman, that is a position.
Or council, that was the advice she gave me. That's your prerogative.
Yeah, she didn't give me enough, so I'm going on what she did off. That's not where we'll go with that. Until I'm told definitively different, I can't do it. The other thing that we have, and you would address the question, ARPA Commission. I'm a member of the ARPA Commission. And we have discussed our resolution. And I can tell you at this point in time, there's a lot of support for that $3 million. So we'll continue to pursue that, but right now, it's still looking very feasible. That's kind of where we are. The last question at our last meeting was, how are you going to divide this? Now it's almost 35. If you add in the interest they've earned and all that. And the proposal is from one of the bankers who is a member. And I forget what bank he is the president of. He's of the opinion it should be 75% nonprofit, 25% county.
Why would he say that? Why would he say that?
Because he thinks the money needs to be more appropriated to the nonprofits of the county to address COVID relief.
Why would
which is a key term.
why would a banker have a voice?
He was appointed, remember, they split it up. You got 3 county supervisors representing town government that are associated with town government. You've got 3 that are associated with business. And what was the other 3? I think just citizens at large.
Can I ask what
He split it up, the executive split it up so you got representation throughout the county, outside of county boards.
can I ask which bank or banker?
I do not know, I don't recall. Very nice gentleman, that was his proposal. The counter proposal is just the opposite of that. 75% for county functions and 25% for nonprofit functions, which would be $8 or $9 million.
Well, at one point, I thought it came across as for resource protection, wasn't it?
Well,
Some of this
there's where we have a little bit of a debate, because the county executive initially said, I only want proposals for this money on legacy issues, something that will be a long-term legacy, and we fit right into that category. I mean, very effective. Of the list of proposals we got from county, just county departments, it was 32 million. I got that list, I didn't bring it with me. Perhaps I should share it with the committee because you wouldn't look at what the departments came up with. So that kind of gives you an idea of what is before the commission is, well, we got 32 million just in county requests. What about the nonprofits? So that's why we're going to do this percentage at some point.
And the thing that eases my mind, if they pull it in as, what's it called, where it's we have more time. But
Oh, yeah, there's a big debate about that too. It's how you tell the government you're going, what the reason for spending the money is. And we're taking the position of the whole amount, that we're using the money to recover lost revenue.
so that gives us a bigger window. My eyes, I'm thinking a 10-year window here. We get $3 million realistically. Give me 10 years to create a good program through the committee of what practices we're going to do, and I feel like we'd be successful at that.
Because it was at 5 at one point, we're 2 years into it.
Right. When end of 26 is when some of this money is supposed to be spent unless we take this other option, which would be huge for our department to be successful.
Well, keep us informed on that one. That's
I most certainly were. And in fact, if we get awarded the funds, this committee will set up a policy to administer those funds, working with the department. But that's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
So be prepared for the rest of this term, establishing a policy how we're going to administer those funds. And we get back into your suggestion about 100% cost share. Got a little feedback from a county supervisor that said he would only support 90%. So that just gives you an idea of the discussion we're going to have and the depth of this discussion. From a legal point of view, my first question will be if this committee under Chapter 92 sets policy for this department, do we need county board approval for that policy? So that's the next legal question.
Well, when we have a proposal, doesn't go for approval?
Pardon me?
When we set a policy, doesn't it normally go for approval? No?
Not for the department for policy, like our county program, for example, committee sets policy and it's approved, and that's what the department follows.
I don't think it's a county board, so I think it might be just our responsibility. It is, at least initially, that's my thoughts. So that being the case, this committee will have that responsibility, and future committees will have that responsibility. So it'll be a lot of work for us to set up a program that will work not only during this term in office, but future terms.
Well, it looks like there's a chance, right, for the money then? There's a chance that we'll get something.
I would, yeah, very good chance, yes.
Then at that point, that we had directed back a year or two ago now, with a sort of that action plan of resources, and I know you hired 2 more people, but you need more than these 2 then? You have to start looking to backfill, or?
If I have a bigger window, I think we can manage it.
Good.
I'm gonna try to. If it gets to be where we're dealing around with work, then I'll cross that bridge. I wouldn't hire somebody ahead of it.
Gotcha.
I would try to do it with my existing staff.
And even for our topic of conversation, if it's coming, even to identify our list maybe a little bit tighter.
Mhm.
For where we're gonna, start talking about it now, or not?
Well, I had that list that we all reviewed early on. It was
Yep.
pretty close to what was submitted again.
Right.
So there's room to change that. And again, the committee's gonna set the policy, but it gives some of the ideas and it captures a lot of the different practices, everything from the BMPs to soil health program, harvestable buffers. That was all included, but that's can change. I mean, it's up to what we set for a policy for the department, but it kind of set a number for the apps to go through.
And that dovetails also then a little bit with that other money that could be coming from.
Yeah, the timing with all this, in my opinion, the momentum, we could just feel it building with the shift with some of the things we're doing. And it's the perfect time to have some money available to really keep pushing this department. So.
You're gonna be the first director of this department since the establishment of this department with those opportunities. I'm not aware in my last 20 years of any director that have this much opportunity. So, yeah. And we're all sure you're gonna do well. I really like.
Oh, I'm excited. You're going to educate us, all of you guys, as far as how we proceed. I mean, we're talking to somebody here who needs that education, who wants that education, not just needs it.
Yeah, if there's ever a practice, I mean, we could do a 10-minute, 15-minute talk on a certain best management practice or anything like that to get you all educated. So I think that might be valuable as we roll into this. We can do a little PowerPoint, talk about each of the things and what we're proposing to really get you all educated on it. That's important, obviously, to know.
Isn't the emphasis gonna always be water quality though, or
At the
general?
end of the day, yes.
And you should be aware, because we have our normal agenda and everything we go through, but as we get into this, if we're awarded the money to set that policy, you're gonna have longer meetings and perhaps more frequent meetings, because my focus will be to get that policy set and approved certainly during our term in office here. Maybe we can do it sooner, maybe it'll go real quick and we get it done in a few months, I don't know, but because we're gonna rely heavily on Bruce and Stan, and of course our committee members and public opinion. Somehow we've got to reach out to people a little bit maybe and say, you have some good ideas, that kind of stuff. So we'll see where all this all goes. A lot of promising things.
I'm glad we asked for the vote, we did.
Well, I'll tell you, got nothing but positive feedback, and I gotta tell you, this commission is not your normal county board commission. This is frank, tough, real direct type discussions. There's no diplomacy here.
And it's
That's
active.
gone.
It's active, that's what's so nice about
So
it. You
I
see results.
didn't hear what.
She said we see results.
Yes, I do. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I do. We're gonna get this done. No doubt about it. I think, I guess that's about it. I don't know what I would add to that. I have not heard a negative thought or comment in regard to our resolution. The rest of them that were brought in, there was one of them, Mr. Elders brought in a resolution for $1.5 million. He is the director of facilities. We threw that out first meeting. This is kind of how this works. So far we are looking very promising.
At the end of the day, I mean, we have Winnebago system in our backyard, and it's a tremendous resource for the economy within this area. And that's what this department does. At the end of the day, we're looking to protect our water resources. It's a good thing for everyone.
Really fits that word, that term that county exec came up with, legacy.
Do the other, like, the other counties that surround the lake system, 5 or 6, whatever it is, did they also apply for maybe this from their counties for the ARPA? Maybe, you know, you start thinking the multiples of if they did or didn't, I don't know,
I haven't checked with the other counties on the latest.
but you know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
it's safe, we were awarded 3, and if Fond du Lac was 3, and I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
that you got quite a pool for a thought for
Or reach
the greater.
Yeah,
I'm not aware of what the other counties have done. I'm aware that I think out of Gamey County has already allocated their funds, right? They're done with it.
I don't. So every county's handling it a little bit different. Some are doing it year by year where you submit an application.
Is that a question that Fox River Watershed could ask the counties?
They could, I mean, even tomorrow at the meeting, we could bring it up at the business meeting, just get the feel, the flavor of the room, what other counties are doing with funds as other business.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. very
Because,
good.
you know, it's that was established for this whole water quality.
Yeah, not bad either.
I believe that completes my chair report. Is there any questions? Not, we'll move on to the agenda.
Can, I'm gonna kind of go backwards. We were talking about a grant that was going to have an employee and a truck potentially coming into it. And it lasts for 5 years. I'm correct so far?
Right, that's the climate smart.
What happens at the end of that 5 years? Do we get to keep the truck? Do we get to
Yes.
keep the,
Yes, you keep the truck, you keep all that, unless we leased it, but I would probably just purchase one. But we would keep the truck, and then I know the idea with Fox Wolf is to have those turn into more permanent positions. I'm not in that school of thought yet, but maybe 5 years from now, we could cross that bridge, but I see it as like a project staff to fulfill that grant.
thank you, I was wondering about the future of all of
Mhm.
that. Thank you.
Speaking of trucks, I'm just gonna quickly mention, we have one that in the budget that was an add-on request that will be moving forward, and I just reached out to start putting the feelers out there. For the truck we want, they opened it for 2023 vehicles one day and they closed it. So it's gonna be difficult to find a truck.
Even if we're approved funding.
Even if we're approved, I'm on a list if something pops up. Ram, we might be able to get a Ram. We need to dig in there a little bit more, but I was looking more like a mid-size truck.
And you have to go through the state process.
That's my understanding, yeah. So we'll see what happens, but it's the world we're in right now.
Okay, are there any other questions? Hearing none, with Julie, do you have a question? Okay, then we'll move on to the business items. A, review and approve or disapprove if you choose, the USDA Wildlife Damage Abatement and Claims Program.
Okay, so today I have 3 items for the committee. We've got the budget for 2023, the venison donation program, and then also the crop prices that our farmers are going to be reimbursed for their damage. So first we can go over the budget. For anybody that's not familiar, this is pass-through money from the DNR that the committee will approve.
I have it kind of, I don't mean to jump in shot, but the first thing we have is we set the crop. 50% crop aid on the agenda, that was the first one.
Okay.
Do we want to do?
Yeah, I suppose I should follow that, yeah.
So crop prices, we've got 3 farmers here in Winnebago County that are going to be getting claims this year. And we don't have any hay here, so all it is corn and beans. And this is just a starting point suggestion, so feel free if you guys think it needs to be higher or lower to adjust that. But these prices came from Ripon North Co-op. They averaged daily prices for all of fiscal year 2021. And came up with $6.35 a bushel for corn and $14.36 a bushel for beans.
How many farmers did you say?
3,
Three?
yeah, that'll be getting claims.
Gentlemen, those who farm for a living, what's your thoughts?
I think the prices are right, because I told them to do the supermarket.
Okay.
I got the same ones.
Sure.
I think that's fair.
Bruce?
They're, from yesterday's prices are right in line.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask that question, what is the current market
Well,
price?
the soybeans is a buck lower than this, but that market changes.
Yeah, it's harvest time too, so it's probably. Any committee member comments or thoughts on prices? You understand how this works? This is the amount they will be paid based on the loss they have incurred.
And the question is, who determines the loss they suffer?
Me. So I'll go out and do an appraisal. They call me 10 days prior to harvest. And then I go out and appraise the damaged areas and the undamaged areas. Here it's goose and deer. And then they'll get parts for up to $10,000 of loss.
So do the silly wire cages that's used for alpha?
Yeah, that's a technique that's been used in the past. But so for corn, I'll take a measurement and then weigh it in damaged and undamaged areas and then walk the whole field and get an acreage of how much acreage is damaged. And so how many bushels per acre were lost is how you count that. And in beans, it's a meter square. And then there's some calculations where you can extrapolate acres based on that.
Are these farmers forced to allow hunters on their property or give them tags for
Yep.
removal of some of the deer?
Yep, because the money comes from hunter license dollars. So, in exchange for receiving compensation for their crops on their property, they'll be public hunting during the, regular season.
I got a question. I think that answer is yes or no. Is not the one farmer, the guy that's next to the prison and they can't
Yeah.
have hunting there?
Yep, they
So
can't
this-
have hunting there.
So he can't hunt?
Right, yeah,
This
there's not even a lot of bow equipment there.
Right.
'Cause it's
But every
all-
year he gets it because he just his location.
Yeah,
I'm just,
yep, there's exceptions, so.
and that kind of leaves just two others. I just know that program up north is so abused that it's frustrating.
Do we know who they are?
Well, I was just
I was
gonna ask
just
that
assuming
question.
that guy.
Normally we get a report.
Yeah.
As to who the person is, the individual, whether they're not whether they're in compliance of the program.
Okay.
Will that be coming at a later date?
So I'll bring their claims at a later date for you guys to sign off on after harvest is done and those appraisals.
Yeah, we have to approve those claims.
Yes, yep,
Okay,
but. I
so
can
what we're
tell
doing
you,
here is just setting the price and the format
Mhm.
for them to file for the claim at a later date, correct?
Yeah, that is public information if you want to know who those farmers are. I can tell you now, or it's on the DNR website too. For anybody.
Well, which ones are they? If you know?
The same three probably have been doing it for years.
Well, there's a new one this year, receiving for goose damage up by Larson. Jeff Hasselt is his name. And then, Bob Walter here, right in Oshkosh by the prison, and then Jim Fisher, he's up by Fremont.
Fremont.
That's
Yeah.
every year.
Yep, so.
Okay, now the question, I'll accept the motion to approve let's do the corn first at $6.35 a bushel. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That is set at $6.35 a bushel. Soybeans, entertain a motion to approve $14.36 a bushel.
So
Second,
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion is approved. Next thing is agenda item B. Okay. You need something else here? 90% of crops have been harvested in Winnebago County as of, we need to set a date.
Yes, typically we do December 1st, but as up to June if you don't mind.
Thoughts?
Well, as of right now, there's no weather concerns. That's fine.
December first is fine.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the, basically cutoff date? The proposal is December 1st.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So that is 12-1. Three, agenda item A. Agenda item B, review and approve the 2023 wildlife damage abatement claims program. Wisconsin Department of Ag and Consumer Protection Budget, LCC. That's yourself. So this is the document.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and that is for full cost, I read it, $8,976.07. Okay, if you would explain what you're proposing a little bit.
Sure, so this has already been approved by DNR. So, these are the anticipated costs for 2023, allocated to Winnebago County. So, once again, this is pass-through money from DNR, it won't cost the county anything, but it does need to be approved by the LCC. So, we are getting a new assistant district supervisor this year, so that person's salary is included. It's gonna be distributed between the counties, and that position is gonna be mainly to focus on administering the damage program and helping the specialists out. So that's kind of a new thing we're doing this year. But, that's already been approved by DNR.
Where is this number in comparison to last year?
I think it's higher than last year. I don't have the exact number from last year.
It is higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just the admin cost for less for this
Okay.
year than next year.
So we don't know how much higher.
No, I don't
Okay.
remember. It drops last year too, because my salary is lower than Steve's. So it was lower last year than it was in 2021.
So we got a little catch up here and a new position.
Mhm.
Do we have a motion to approve or disapprove?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
On the venison donation, we always bring up the question of who does that.
That's the next one, agenda item C.
Okay, sorry.
Any further discussion? Call the question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Agenda item C, review and approve the participation in the 2023 deer donation program. That would be this document.
So I believe Bex Meats is participating this year in venison donation program, which they have in the past years also. And DNR actually increased the cost that these processors are going to be reimbursed for their donated deer this year. So I think it's $110 they're getting for deer that need to be CWD tested, and $100 they're getting for deer that don't need to be CWD tested. So
This is the butcher of the deer.
yeah, and then donated.
Just so, for your knowledge, previously, years back, that was quite an issue, because I think it was like $50 or something.
Yeah.
However, I am certainly happy, and I assume the committee to hear that that's been increased, because
Yeah.
a lot of
places are
butchering
dropping low.
places that butcher animals, we're really weren't compensated.
Yeah. So that's a statewide thing that DNR did for the processors this year.
But $100, okay.
And that's reflected in the budget we just approved here for processing.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I asked the question before.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the deer donation program for 2023?
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Sign those.
Again. Let me get on to the next one, if you would, there. Review and approve the AIS cooperative agreement to satisfy eligibility with the Fox Wolf watershed. Chad, you can take that.
Okay, so as I described in the agenda item report, what this is we partner with Foxborough Watershed Alliance. We are allotted a certain amount of money from the DNR for AIS efforts. We get about 14,000. But through our department, we promote AIS prevention, but it's not a high priority for this department. So what we do is we pool our funds with the other counties of Brown, Calumet, Fond du Lac, and Orleans, and give the funds to Foxborough Watershed Alliance to have an AIS program. And that was, I just printed off a sheet from 2021. It was highlighting some of the things that they do through Foxborough. So they have the clean boats, clean water. In 2021, they inspected almost 6,000 boats. They educated 11,000 lake users. They monitor the launches for 1,500 hours. They do trainings, articles. They do monitoring at different sites for AIS. They're on steering teams, a number of different things. So a tremendous group to work with, and they do a lot of work over the region for AIS efforts. So what this is each year we have to do this, where basically we're letting the DNR know we're going to give our funds to Foxborough, and this is the agreement between us and Foxborough with what the expectations are. So it's a one-year agreement, and I will just need the approval for this. And again, the other counties are doing the same thing to do the funds to be able to create this program.
And this is a 501c3, correct?
Yes.
A motion to approve. Or disapprove.
So move to approve.
Second,
Any further discussion?
Just sorry to slide this question in there, but Winnie County is proposing doing quite a bit of work on their park, and one of the things they want to put in is a pressure washing station so that all the boats coming out can pressure wash them to try to control the invasive species. Is there any funds or grants out there that might be helpful for
That
that?
very well could be. I would check with Chris Gacy with Foxborough. He's the contact. He will know the answer to that. He could work with you on that for sure. So
Okay,
if you need his number, I can get it to you. I
I'll
don't
track
know if
it down later.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on that highlight sheet I gave you or not, but
No problem.
yep, if not,
That's a really good idea. Who come up with that? Yourself? Incredible. Yeah, that is a good
It
idea.
wasn't mine. I was the one pushing for the fish cleaning station, and
Okay.
pressure washing system came hand in hand. So,
his email is on the sheet, but if you need his number,
oh, okay.
That's a good idea. Where am I?
you're looking for, well, we have a first and a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we were in discussion. Hearing any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. We are now on agenda item E. I lost my place, I believe I have. Review and approve the Winnebago County Water Quality Improvement Cost Share Agreements. And you should have those.
We have four agreements to approve today on your spreadsheet. We have 3 well abandonments. We're getting a flurry of well abandonments because the town of Algoma sent out a letter to the residents about our program. So we're getting a flush of people coming in, needing to get their wells abandoned. Starting to taper off a little bit, but it's been busy. Alex has been on the apartments on that program. So we have 3 of those, and then the last one will be a wetland restoration. Actually, it's one we did years back. Some of you committee members were out on this site on one of our tours. But what's happening now is we need to start thinking about muskrats more with these berms. So the muskrats are causing a lot of damage. We're going to make the berms wider and put in chain link fence. Is what we're looking to do to prevent what's happening is the rats are burrowing through the dam, the berm, and it's draining the whole wetland. So we need to go in, we're going to beef up that berm, create a little more water area from what's existing for the water pool, and then we'll put a chain link fence in the center of that berm. We've done it on the other berm, and this is just to do a smaller project to get that done to make it muskrat
And
Kate,
it's successful. Excuse me.
for your knowledge, are you aware of what muskrats do?
Oh, I have to believe that they are very
They
territorial
dig
and
these little
destructive.
holes
Yeah.
all over. I had them on my place for quite a while, down by the creek down there. They dig a little hole, pretty soon the whole bank just caves in. It just drops. It's unreal. So that's why, but if I might add to that, this is for a half acre. I assume the cost is the fence primarily. I'm looking at the grant.
Yeah, so that would be the fence, and then we're going to excavate in that, where the pool area is, we're gonna take material, expand that, sediment is washed in from the watersheds, we're gonna take that and make the berm a little wider. It's only 8 feet on top. Now we're going 12 feet with these berms, just to make them a little bit wider for preventing muskrats.
And does the chain fence go all the way to the top of the barn?
No, it'll go a couple feet below the water line and a few feet above the water line. That's how we do it. So you're gonna dig in that center, and then they'll set it in there. And just compact it.
For muskrat, dig halfway through and then run through your fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They'll probably try.
Animal
That's
abuse
right,
there.
right, yeah.
Don't let that get out.
How are we doing on our county funds? Because this is October, and obviously every month we approve this, we're spending.
So right now we have about 35 to 38,000 left.
From the 100 grand that it was.
It's 87,000.
87,
There's
okay.
one project that might not go, but all the money we have, it's not getting installed this year. We're gonna get it signed up this year and carry it over for next year. We have a pile of projects right that aren't signed up yet, so we'll spend it. It's not gonna be a problem.
Okay, are there any other questions? If not, I'll call a question. Hearing none, all in favor of the cost share agreement, say, I'm sorry, I need a motion. Do I have a motion to approve the cost share agreement? And I have a second. Now, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, the motion carries. Review the Water Conservation Department project list. This is that document. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I assume that's the ones you just approved.
Some are, some aren't. So our list keeps growing. The first one on here is Ross Farms. So they're a Capo, over by the town of Winnebago. They're going to be adding a small barn at their facility and expanding, putting in a transfer, and at some point they will be expanding their new pit over there. So
What's the expansion?
I think it's about 800. That's one more building that I thought was around 800.
You know what their total over there?
Over, you know, Bruce,
I mean,
over 2,000.
well, didn't they concrete line that pit when we were out there last time? What are they gonna do?
We don't know yet. I don't know how they're gonna expand it. It's to be determined. We're waiting to hear the details.
Or make another cell next to it or something?
Not sure. I'm not sure. And that was a big pit itself.
Oh, it's huge.
So our involvement, we have our livestock ordinance and they have to get a permit through us. We review the transfer system. And the work that's gonna be done later, but we need to make sure that transfer system is designed according to our design specifications. The private engineer will design it, we get it, we're gonna review it, and we certify that it meets our
How
standards.
come the transfer station is going from the barn to the pit?
Yes.
Because he had a grinder pump or something in there one time when we were there.
He switched.
And he was
it, had a
discussing it.
digester, and then he went back to sand settling now, I think he has, so he's been back and forth.
I know it's been over $9 to go back and forth. That was his comment. And I believe that he have 2 pits. He did the solid and the water into one, and then he transferred the water after a while when it settled to the next one. Yeah,
That's how we did it. Yeah. So we have to issue a permit and then we oversee construction. So we're checking rebar, we're checking concrete. That's a big part of what our department does, to make sure that it doesn't leak in the ground. That's the idea at the end of the day.
Are the Slikes expanding their herd?
I think so. I think they're gonna increase it by around, I think 800, but I need to check on that. I don't know how much, but it's one additional freestyle building, so whatever that building would hold. And it already tells, yeah, we're getting
So they're all up to snuff on rules and regulations.
There's a well that you're gonna have to abandon and re-drill a new high capacity well once it doesn't meet the setback. But yes, they're regulated by DNR because they're a cable, they're heavily regulated and through our department as well.
What's the max that they can? As far as animal units.
I don't know if there's necessarily a max, it's no land capacity per site. But they're getting, I mean, they're running out of space there. I don't know how much more they're able to expand. Going towards the roads where the freestyle's going. Site. West side.
Yeah, they got.
So that's, yeah, that's a big part of what we do. And if we don't provide funding, we have to enforce our ordinance. So the transfer won't be too bad, but the work it, we're out there checking the concrete trucks, making sure everything, the rebar is spaced properly, all that good stuff. So that one is moving forward. Deborah Johnson was a well abandonment that you approved. William Mitchell was a well abandonment that you approved. Jesse Jacqueline Steiner, that's a wetland restoration. I think that's a scrape. Alex, is that his? I think it's just a scrape, right? Possibly a berm, maybe 2 landowners with that one. So that one would be next year. We're working with them on that, restoring some land that was cropped and converted to wetland. And then the David Zilgus is another well. I think we're October. Projects.
Seems great, but I think I've got a concept of it, but I've also got a whole block of cast deal, so the advantages of this scrape.
The idea behind it is you have say a low area in a field that's building in sediment. We go in, we'll scrape all. I like to go 4 feet to try and keep that fields out. That exact reason you go only a couple feet if you choke out. So I try to go a minimum of 4 feet, and then our side slopes are usually 8 to 1, nice and gradual, so ducks and critters can ingress, they can move in and out. And we usually go around a ½ acre. A lot of these are built not just for wildlife, but it's a settling area where the sediment comes to that. So it's a settling area as well. So no bigger than a ½ acre. And you know, it's getting more and more expensive. So the ideal way to restore wetlands is breaking tiles or filling in ditches or putting on a small berm to get your base thing for your buck. But the scrapes are an over practice, which we reduce the cost share rate through the committee back in the day of 50% cost share. Not quite cost effective, but they're a good practice, but not like some of these other ones.
You plant something in.
We always put a buffer around them. I shoot for 50 feet around these scrapes. It helps filter out any sediment going through the scrape and provide some habitat. So that's always a requirement to scrape that we put a buffer. And that's just you know, a lot of that, you excavate those wetter areas, there's a lot of seed that sits there dormant in the soil. And as soon as you spread it out, it'll all of a sudden germinate. Give it the right conditions. There's a lot of really good native plants that come out naturally in seed bank.
Just one other question. Earlier, you had mentioned about a spill of some sort that you were monitoring or checking, and I thought I understood that was a truck from Cross Farms that had. Was it Cross Farms that notified you of that through Howard Miller, or?
The initial call, it was Rick Ustra, who's a farmer, called the town, and the town called us. It was reported to DNR, but the leachate spill was reported by Cross Farms.
Okay.
So whenever a farmer has a spill, first thing they do is they need to call that spill hotline. That's step 1. And then we're notified through our department. And we follow up, make sure things are.
I just wanted to clear that up, that it was Miller reported it. And the truck driver, yeah, so.
It's happened more than once.
Yep. And as long as they take responsibility for it, that's.
Any other questions of the project list? None, okay, at this point, we'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
I've got a question. Our
Yes,
next
sir.
meeting, will we be done with the budget session? With our, so we can hold the meeting on a Thursday again? Because we meet on the 31st.
Oh, yes, good point.
So that day on Thursday, when our committee meeting is being held, they're having a youth government day. So the departments are giving presentations and they will know more about it than I do, but they're doing that throughout that morning. My understanding is we're still gonna have a committee meeting that morning. And then I'll have somebody cover for me with another department part, but I think we'll be okay. The budget is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Committee meeting is on Thursday, with the youth government day.
So we should have completed the budget.
Yes,
We can have our meeting,
that's my understanding.
and then there's something after. Okay,
Yeah,
you're out.
that's the youth government day.
Okay.
That's the latest that I heard. I don't say it like that, and it changes will have a plot, but I think we can stay on track.
It's a little unusual to go on a third day, usually at budget, but never know.
It was a half day on Monday, full day on Tuesday. And then Wednesday.
Okay, any other questions or comments? I'll go back to, do I have a motion to adjourn? A second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.
It's only 9:00.
Good meeting, thanks. Wish I could participate.
Bye, Julie.
You guys all, see you soon.
When you leave it for Florida?
Number 28.
It's raining.
Oh.
When we keep it rain for a second.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's working.
We got plenty of space.
It never fits our criteria, so.
Yeah, you're right there, my friend.
There's a. WWCA.
Not going back several years. Okay.
Yeah, it's on your agenda. So that's-
Yes. So if you want a house down there, it's
Yeah, I signed it up.
you can walk there. Here, I have lectures with $50. So. Pardon? It was enrolled, yeah, so if you didn't pay $50, you ended up on the property, but where you never had.
Yeah.
You know, so there's some, and.
I actually like.
And it was weird, yeah, as it was, but at one time it was. It was frustrating if you were just sportsman instead of the guy.
If you hear, that's still happening,
Yeah,
report it to
yeah,
us.
yeah.
So we can work with, then it becomes a big issue if they're denying hunters.
Yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
you kind of go undercover and ask permission to get
Yeah,
denied, but
yeah.
I don't know if it's.
Like I said, I think the program has kind of moved all the bugs out.
I thought, banks, actually.
Originally it was.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that,
Hey.
try not
I've
horrible.
got a fair amount of land up in North.